This is the diet drug. And this is when we took out the contents. This is what we found in this product. You can actually see the graphene organizations and constructs of biosensors, which are actually contained within this diet. And it's literally impregnating nanotechnology, biosensors that are self-assembling when activated by 4G plus 5G into these biochips that can then interact with your cell phone, cell towers to receive and transmit information. You're now connected to the Internet of Things.
Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report here. Thank you so very much for coming on back to the show. This one is a blockbuster. That was my longtime friend and a good man, Dr. Robert Young, explaining the hidden secrets about Ozempic. Guys, did you know that our government is openly committing democide against we the people, and the regulators know it and approve of it? I've got evidence to back up that statement in this important interview. You're not going to want to miss this one. But before we start, just a quick word about a very important sponsor. There's a revolution happening right now, and it's about to make silver more precious than ever. The sun's power is taking over the world. It's growing so fast, it will be the biggest source of electricity by the 2030s. Solar. Here's the kicker. Every single solar panel needs a lot of silver to work. We're talking about a web of silver in every single panel, turning sunlight into power. Smart investors are already making their move, and that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. With a silver IRA, you can surf this incredible wave of growth. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House or what Wall Street does. Solar power is consuming physical silver. And as the world attempts to go green, your retirement could be going sterling silver. Now, of course, there are no investment guarantees, and always do your own due diligence by contacting a financial advisor before making any investment decision. But don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers in 2024. And since I'm Sean from SGT Report, I'll give you a little inside baseball. If you take away the paper manipulation of the silver market on Wall Street and at the COMEX, we'd be looking today at a $350 an ounce silver price. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and you may get up to 10 free brand new 1 ounce silver Trump coins or a 10 ounce silver American flag bar with every qualifying IRA. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Oh, and by the way, they're happy to provide you with a gold IRA as well. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so very much for tuning in. It's Sean from SGT Report. So glad to have you back. Thank you so much for clicking play. Guys, I want to welcome back to the show my good friend, Dr. Robert Young. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the term controlled opposition before we get into the guts of the show, which is about democide. Your government is actively trying to kill you. And I've got the proof to back that up. We'll share that in just 1 second. Doc, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Sean. Nice to talk with you again.
Well, it's good to see you, my friend. If anybody knows a thing or two about controlled opposition and the enemy, it's you. You've paid a heavy price for telling the truth for years and years and years. And I just produced a video that I posted the other day called 11 Proofs the Power is Being Restored to the People. Now, I didn't title that all of the power is being restored to the people. I'm not naive. I know a thing or two about Zionism and Israel's influence on this nation and on our leaders. I talk about Zionism. I talk about the Rothschild bankers, the Rockefeller bankers, and their big pharma companies, which they do control, folks. I talk about all of it. But evidently, if you don't spend all day, every day saying Jews, Jews, Jews are the problem, then you're controlled opposition. Let me ask you something, Doc. If I were controlled opposition, would I be banned from YouTube and Patreon and Vimeo and Sendinblue and MailChimp and PayPal? I mean, the list goes on. And by the way, I'm never on the leaderboard at Rumble because I don't know what's going on over there. They refuse to promote my material. Fine. All I want is a level playing field, but we don't have that in this country anymore, do we?
Absolutely not, Sean. In fact, I can't post anything on YouTube. It doesn't matter how good the content is. Just my name gets me, that video kicked off. So what is there on YouTube is thousands of videos, and they date clear back to the 90s, and through the, into the new century, but I haven't been able to post there for close to a decade, and it got really bad. It got really, really bad as you experienced. Many of us experienced, getting censored and shadow banned on these channels. In 2019, 2020, and going forward, it's just gotten worse. And so what I found is if I try to post something, or if I send out a newsletter, if I send out an article that and we're talking about published research, I'll send it out to thousands of people, and I'll lose 5 to 10% of those people just as a penalty for sending this out or posting it. And the same thing happens with Facebook. I lasted on TikTok for about 2 weeks. And I guess they got tired of watching my videos and banning them. And I wasn't saying anything other than what can be substantiated.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just sparked a thought. I don't get to be on TikTok either. In fact, it's so bad, I asked my contributor, who doesn't even live in this country, Matt, my contributor at SGT Report, to try to post some of our material, my material, on TikTok via a channel he created. That didn't work either. So I am banned on social media platforms across the board. And yes, I got back on Twitter, but I'm 100% completely throttled. Right? 127,000 followers or something like that. And my average metric on a tweet is like 2,000 people read it. Look, the deck is stacked. And in this conversation, we are going to talk about democide. How do we fight back when the government is openly involved in the democide of its own citizens? I've got breaking news from Catherine Watt via her Ballywick News on Substack. We're going to share that in just 1 second. But in that video, 11 proofs power is being returned to the people, I cited as one of those 11 proofs SCOTUS's Chevron deference decision, the ruling which neuters the administrative stay-behind deep state's unchecked power. Checkmate. That is a real thing, a tangible, quantifiable piece of evidence that things are changing, at least to some degree. Robert, there have been some really amazing, powerful SCOTUS decisions over the past couple of weeks. And it all, to me, represents a sea change as we, the people, wake up and attempt to take our nation back, right? That's all we're trying to do here. By the way, if I was controlled opposition, have I ever put a word in your mouth? Have I ever said there's something off limits that you can't talk about? You have the floor. Take me to task if I've ever done anything remotely resembling that to you or anyone.
I can't even point to one particular incident at all. Even though right now I have a knot in my stomach because every time this comes up, it's kind of like the Pavel effect where, a bell rings and you go to eat. Well, as soon as these topics come up, all of a sudden, I start feeling, the stress from that, because I'm always looking over my back. I'm always, having to provide protection. I'm having to limit my freedoms intentionally in order to stay alive.
Yeah, we all feel like that from time to time. By the way, you know what the new plague is on our society, our broken, sick culture? Loneliness. There are so many young people who are feeling lonely because of the technology, because of the TikTok, because of the social media. It's a real plague on our society. And by the way, Doc, I've said to my wife repeatedly, I've said to others too, if I had one wish, if God were to grant me one wish, it wouldn't be for $1 billion or 10 billion or $100 billion. It would be for God to end loneliness on this planet. That would cause many, many remarkable things to happen because loneliness is a cancer on our society, isn't it?
Well, it's the absence of acceptance. It's being loved. You want that love, and especially if you've experienced it before, and to literally cut yourself off in order to protect others. When I say this, it brings tears to my eyes because this is what happens to us. We have to pull back, even though our heart is to educate, to empower people with the knowledge so they can take care of themselves and protect themselves. But we have to pull back in order to be able to speak when we feel not only just the urge or the need, but to be able to speak as a lone voice in the wilderness, crying out. Narrow is the path that leads to life. And life is an acronym that stands for living interstitial fluid environment. And if I say that, anyone, they say, what are you talking about? This is the basis of the beginning and the genesis of all sickness and disease. And yet, who's talking about it? Who's researching it? Who's publishing on it? Very few scientists. And it only began in 2019. And so, we start guarding our words, we start guarding our thoughts. And yes, we need to be truthful and accurate in what we say, and we need to back up with evidence. And this is why I publish. But to actually, be shadow banned and contact traced, and it's not just me, it's everyone on this planet, Sean. Everyone has been transfected. And I had to make that word up because this is not an infection. This whole flu thing, influenza, it's a lie. This whole cold thing, it's a lie. Colds and flus are symptoms of poisoning, whether it be from radiation or from chemicals. And I've proved this over and over and over and over again. People are not sick. They have been poisoned. They're being poisoned. You're being irradiated. You're being chemically poisoned. And don't think when you go to the grocery store, it's not in your fruit and vegetables, or in the meat department, it is not in their interstitial fluid. And somebody, so what is interstitial fluid? It's the fluid that surrounds every cell. It's that body ocean. If I was to say, what is the interstitial fluid of the ocean? It's the fluid that surrounds the fish. The life of that fish is determined by their interstitial fluid inside and outside their environment. Interstitial fluid is the largest organ of the human body. And people say, what does that look like? And I sent you a picture of it so you could delineate between vascular fluids, interstitial fluids, and intracellular fluids, because those are the three main fluids of the human body. And you need to know this. Mm-hmm. You cannot trust anymore. And the beauty of this, Sean, once you have this knowledge, you can be your own doctor. You can test your own interstitial fluid, because urine is a product of that largest organ of the human body called the interstitium. I learned about it by my professor, Dr. Marie Blecker, in Essen, Germany, at the Enderlin Institute. Gunther Enderlin. It was called the colloidal connective tissue of the shod. I mean, I had to wait till 2019 to somebody else start publishing on this subject, talking about this subject, but it's not taught in medical school. They teach interstitial fluid, but they don't understand it's compartmentalized. It's a holding tank before it's moved either into the connective tissue, because it can't move out to the lymphatic system, lymphatic blockage. But when you have to get up at night, you test your urine. And you have to understand two things about your urine, which is simply tested by just using some pH hydrant paper. Simply. And it's easy to get. You just have to go to phmiracleproducts.com. You can get this pH hydrant paper, and for $20, you have 150 tests. You test it, you will see what I'm talking about. Because anyone who has any imbalance in their body will show a deficiency. It's called decompensated acidosis of the interstitial fluid. What is the ideal pH? 8.4 to 9. They don't even measure for that. The range of testing when they test urine is from 4.5 to 9.5. It's totally ridiculous because it's exponential. The differences are tens, if not millions of times greater on those variables. Just from going from 7 to 6, that's 10 times. From 6 to 5, that's 100 times more toxic. Ideal is 8, 8.4 to 9. You see, your doctors have been indoctrinated. That's why they're called doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have the tools they need, the simple tools to educate you, to empower you.
No, they've been brainwashed. Let me just interrupt and make a couple of observations, and then we're going to get to the brass tacks here. They've been indoctrinated to the extent, see, I love your analogy or your metaphor where you say, imagine a goldfish in a very dirty bowl. Do you vaccinate the fish or do you change the water? Do you clean the water? Okay, that is what the doctors want to do. They want to vaccinate the fish. Okay, they don't want to clean the polluted water. So we're going to talk about how you clean your polluted blood here in just 1 minute, guys, but I want to show you guys something. And I will continue to rail against AIPAC and ADL and the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, in Zionist Israel, and the Gazan genocide, and tell the truth to the people that the mainstream horror media ignores, because right now, in addition to that Gazan genocide, there is a democide taking place in our own nation against we the people. Now, the PrEP Act declarations are declarations of war issued by a treasonous, seditious government, acting in unofficial personal capacities. This from Catherine Watt via her Substack. Now, again, as I just mentioned, the Chevron ruling is a hugely important ruling, because now these seditious agents acting in unofficial personal capacities will be brought to task. They can no longer get away with their crimes. But here's the deal. This from Catherine Watt, March 17th, 2024, Department of Justice, fraud and resulting death injury from COVID shots are part of the U.S. public health policy. Now, Sasha Latipova, who I've had on the show, may have played a part in some of this information. It goes like this. I suggest you all reread this a few times to truly grasp the depth of the depravity outlined in the argument by the DOJ. They are stating that they know that pharmaceutical fraud has been committed and the deaths and injuries resulted from it. They are also stating that mass death and injury are in fact fully known to the pharmaceutical regulators, and that no corrective action is required because this is consistent with the United States of America's public health policy. Let that sink in, friends. Doc,
wow.
Your comments. This is democide, and no wonder the CDC and the FDA continue to push the bioweapon masquerading as a vaccine.
You can no longer trust the medical system. You can no longer trust the hospital system. You cannot trust. You have to trust and verify. You have to know your farmer better than your doctor. And you better know your doctor, because they're working on limited knowledge that can affect your health. And to not take responsibility for injury. You know, I mean, how many times have they arrested me, Sean? For doing what? Educating? Telling people, how to make changes in their own body, which is a non-medical, it's a healing approach, a natural approach, a God-given approach. I mean, it is totally ridiculous. They have power, and the people behind all this are not the elected people. And they are telling the judges, they are telling the district attorneys and attorney generals what to do and what to say. And here again, these so-called experts are not experts. They get paid tens of thousands of dollars to be experts, to say what they're told to say. And it has nothing to do with your well-being or improving the quality and quantity of your life, because that is not the agenda. The agenda, as stated by those, when I say this, you'll know who it is. They are geared to reducing the surplus population of, quote, useless eaters, close quote. And I, T.M. Ballantyne Jr. and I write about this in Truth versus Deception. And in the Truth versus Deception, there's 4 books. We talk about our loss of freedoms, and we pray that the people everywhere, not just in the United States, but everywhere, will wake up to the truth that just a few are controlling our lives. and we can no longer trust Big Pharma. We can no longer trust the medical mafia. We can no longer trust our indoctrinated doctors. You know, the last time that I saw a doctor, Sean,
Hmm.
when my mother gave birth. I mean, I was blessed with a family that taught us to learn to care for ourselves. We do not run to the hospital. We do not run to doctors. And what we do is we resolve this ourselves. Isn't that what they did in the 18th and 19th century? Not the case in the 20th century when the Rockefellers took over and the Rothschilds. Well, they'd been around for a long time. But modern day medicine, in the beginning in the 30s, of antibiotics. What does anti mean? Against. Biotic, life. I mean, is that a clue? They've warned you what it is. Why would you ever take it? You know, and we know this to be a fact, because the key to health is managing the internal environment, not treating any specific diseases. Why? Because there are no specific diseases. And you're not sick, you've been poisoned. And the quality and quantity of your life is being affected. And we have tested a lot of these nutraceuticals and a lot of these pharmaceuticals that are being used to treat specific diseases. They are literally tainted with nanotechnology. And now what we're doing is we're doing pilot studies, and we're doing more comprehensive studies, randomized placebo studies, international, with third-party testing, because I can say what I say. But if I'm blinded from that, I want somebody else to validate what I've already said, because we've published on this. Graphene oxide is a published, study. It's called the non-disclosed ingredients in the COVID-19 vaccines. And I disclose in their research using STEM microscopy. Yes, some microscopy and nanomicroscopy, but also spectroscopy to identify specifically the ingredients that are contained, and they are all contaminated. I don't care what they call it. Whatever the vaccine is, there is not a safe vaccine. All vaccines prove, if you survive them, is that you have been poisoned and have survived because of it, and the body is reacted to any foreign material. You cannot put foreign matter from human or animal into another human without an immediate reaction and rejection of that. The defense is to neutralize, chelate, and remove it immediately before it kills you.
Yep.
That is not providing immunity. And it's very important that you listen to me, who's ever listening. Immunity is not found by granulocytes and agranulocytes. We're talking about the white blood cells, not by neutrophils and not by lymphocytes. That's where education needs to begin. There's an organ in your body that provides homeostasis, that provides and manages and maintains the alkaline design of all your body fluids. And it's not the white blood cells. They support, but it's not the major organ. The major organ that manages and maintains the alkaline design at a pH of the blood at 7.365, in the interstitial fluid at 8.4 or 8.365, 10 times greater pH behind the veil, that vascular wall, from 7.365 to 8.365, 10 times greater. And then what is the organ that maintains that? Because when you feel stress in your muscles because you overlifted when you went to work out, or you ran a marathon, and you see at the shock point, on the 22nd where people hit the wall, they're on the side of the wall, many of them throwing up. What are they throwing up? They're throwing up acid. Why are they throwing up acid? Why hasn't anyone answered that question? I'm going to answer it for you today. When you see a mother who's in her first trimester throwing up, when you see a runner or an athlete throwing up, that is the body throwing out hydrochloric acid, which is a byproduct of what the stomach does, which it produces baking soda. Yes, folks, sodium bicarbonate. The same stuff when you go to the emergency room and they hook you up to an IV of 0.9% saline. Many times they'll put in an 8.4, solution of sodium bicarbonate because that's its pH. And to restore health and life, you have to maintain these delicate pH balances and what they call the zeta potential, the electrical potential. And that's what Force Salts does. That's what MasterPeace does. That's what Master Results, because they're all geared towards 8.4 at identical to what the pH is of the interstitial fluid. What to do? To stop cellular breakdown, to stop the corona effect, to stop the spike protein effect, to stop the activation of the lymphatic system. What does the lymphatic system do? To neutralize oxidants. By using what? By using, oxygen, reduced oxygen, reduced hydrogen, OH minus, O minus. There's compounds that do this. This has been my life for 40 years, and this is what these bad actors, these demons, want to stop, because what it does, it puts you in the power seat to manage and maintain your own personal health and determine your quality and quantity. You don't die at 65 or at 75. You actually do that with your lifestyle choices. What you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, what you think, what you feel, what you believe.
Let me show you something. Lifestyle choices, the lymphatic system, the thyroid. I want to show you guys something. This is going to horrify you, doctor. I'm sure you're well aware of this. I should get my friend, Dr. Diane Kaiser, back on to talk about this. She's the one who alerted me to the dangers of Ozempic. And we're going to talk about transfection, and I want to go to some of your slides in just one second. But the other problem is that people have been infected. Their brains have been infected by big pharma advertising on the God-blessed television. Ozempic, I now know 2 mature women, grown women who should know better and do some basic research, who are on Ozempic, and they've lost a lot of weight, but their faces look hollow. They look terrible. And evidently, this is one of the most popular drugs out there right now. But the serious side effects of Ozempic include not only allergic reactions, but hypoglycemia, increased thyroid cancer risk, gallstones, and swelling of the pancreas. Guys, this is what we are up against. Okay, Ozempic has a box warning from the FDA about possible risk of thyroid cancer. But these people ignore it because they look at the television, they listen to the advertising, and they allow themselves to be brainwashed. And evidently, it's more important to be thin and, in their minds, beautiful than healthy. So this is the sickness of our basically lost society at this point, Doc. We're fighting every day to bring it back, to restore our republic. But my God, how many sheeple are there in this sick society? Ozempic, a popular drug, and nobody seems to care about the side effects.
Well, the side effects are not they're the effects of taking that. What that drug does, and we've already tested it, and we have found nanotechnology in it. Yes, it's loaded with 2-dimensional graphene oxide, ferric oxide. It's a poison. What it does is it destroys your internal environment. When that happens, you're going to start losing weight. Absolutely. It's destroying the blood. You're losing weight. It's destroying your intestinal villi, which is your root system in your small intestine. That's where the primary stem cells are made. They're called erythroblasts. Erythroblasts become erythrocytes. That doesn't happen. So what happens when you're on these sad diets, the standard American diets, I call them diets because it has the word die in it. You go on a diet? I don't recommend diets. I recommend live-its. You want to live? Don't go on a diet. Because what diets do is they destroy your root system. And when that's destroyed, the body stops producing blood. Now, listen to me closely. If you're not producing blood in the primary site, in the crypts of the small intestine, the body goes into reverse transformation. This happens when you fast as well, because when you don't put food in there, the body can't make blood. The blood makes the small intestine, and the body makes blood in the crypts of the small intestine at a pH, you ready for this? 8.4 at negative 80 millivolts. That cannot happen if you're drinking acidic water. That cannot happen if you're eating acidic food. That cannot happen if you're taking acidic nutraceuticals, enzymes, drinking vinegar. The list goes on and on. It's craziness. What you do is you foreshorten your root system, reduce the blood supply, you go into reverse transformation. The body starts making blood, guess what? Out of what? Your muscles, your bones, yes, your excess fat, anything it can access, and you start becoming the incredible shrinking woman, the incredible shrinking man, as you are incredibly dying.
Mm-hmm. Brought to you by Pfizer. I'm not sure who makes Ozempic. I should look that up, but it's probably Pfizer or Merck. It's obviously one of the big giant pharmaceutical companies that care so much about you, friends, that rolled out bioweapons masquerading as vaccines, and we're all being transfected. Tesla phoresis on graphene validating the research of Dr. Robert Young. Where should we begin? You sent me some very interesting slides. And by the way, we've got the graphs showing the reduction of all these toxins in your blood when you use MasterPeace, that nano zeolite based product that Dr. Young has done all the research on.
Yeah, telephoresis, people know who Tesla is, but this is all a magnetic process. Our bodies are not electromagnetic. They're magnetic electro. It's like getting the horse before the cart, behind the cart, or the cart before the horse. And so when you understand that all life activity is magnetic, this is a beautiful thing. And so when you're looking at blood before, okay, it's been exposed to these toxins, before it's been exposed to, toxic light sources, because our bodies run on light. Our bodies take the sunlight, converts that to electrical energy, and out of that electrical energy, you think, you move, our neurons function off magnetic electrical impulses. And that's what's being disrupted. And it's being disrupted by compounds that are in these foods, that are in these nutraceuticals and pharmaceuticals, and are in these diet products. I have videos on them. And if you watch this, Sean, if you watch this video, you'll actually see the self-assembling of these graphene quantum dots, literally self-assembling into nano threads, into nano ribbons. And this is what happens inside the body once it's been transfected into you by what you eat, what you breathe, what you think, through inoculations, what have you. These are the delivery systems. Once it's in your body, it activates with magnetic electrical impulses from what? Your cell phone. From what? The electric car you're driving in. For, all these different electromagnetic stimulates Tesla phoresis. This is what healthy blood should look like. It doesn't exist anymore. And it only exists in a not a major way, but in a minor way for people. And as far as understanding the separation of body fluids, you can see this, and the actual pHs that we're looking for at 20.5 millivolts. We can see the blood vessels. We can see the plasma. This is that runs through this, where the red blood cells run. And then outside that, of course, we have cells like liver cells, muscle cells. Around these fluids are the interstitial fluids, and that ranges anywhere from 8.3 to 8.4 at negative 80 millivolts. So anything outside the blood is interstitial fluid, unless it's inside the cell, which is intracellular. The pH is 7.4. But this, Sean, is where healing takes place. And so when we look at the intestines, there are appendages called intestinal villi. And it's in these crypts, in these crypts where the liquefied food, ideally at 8.4 negative 80 at negative 80 millivolts, transforms into erythroblast, which is then taken up, by the venules and our and become our new blood. So this is where this transformation takes place, and when this is healthy, this is the kind of blood you make. And when it's damaged, you can see actual perforations in the intestinal villi. This is normal. This is healthy. This is abnormal. This is what many of the foods and nutraceutical, pharmaceuticals, vinegar, diet drugs can literally cause, imperfections in the development of red blood cells in the crypts of the small intestine. And that gets into the environment in the plasma, and you start seeing, the spiking of the red blood cells, the corona effect of the red blood cells. These white areas are yeast and molds, but all of this is toxicity that's created within. So germs are born within us and from cellular breakdown due to a polluted environment. And that's a very, very important point to understand. So, if you want to learn the truth of the physiology of the stomach, this is a published paper. Can I direct you to the answer of these questions? Does the stomach digest food? I'm going to answer very quickly. No. What is the stomach purpose? Is to manage and maintain the alkaline design of the body fluids. It is at the forefront of immunity. Does the stomach produce sodium bicarbonate? Every day, every second of your life. Why does the stomach produce sodium bicarbonate? Because it is the organ that's keeping the homeostasis of the blood, the interstitial fluid, and the interstitial fluid. These are some additional questions, and this book is available at phmiracleproducts.com.
Can I ask
if we go back up then and look at this transformation, this was the metaphor that you mentioned, the duality of life, the germ theory versus terrain theory. Germ theory is a false scientific premise, hypothesis. The terrain theory is managing and maintaining the environment in which our body cells thrive in. This is how you maintain quality of health and longevity. So let me get back up here, and I'm going to show you this. This is what I wanted to show you here. Since you brought it up, this is the diet drug, and this is when we took out the contents. This is what we found in this product.
Guys, apologies for this real quick break and a word about our sponsor. If you suffer from daily pain, please listen to this message carefully. What we know about pain relief is changing forever, and that's where pioneering medical scientist Clint Winters comes in. You may have seen this world-renowned health expert featured in the national media as he's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. I'm talking about canalidine, the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous pills. It's become the go-to pain reliever for over 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes. Canalidine is the only compound on earth that optimizes your body's natural painkillers, called endorphins, at any age. And the best news? Canalidine has no documented side effects after 14 years of extensive testing. So just make sure you click the link below this video and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on how canalidine is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at 1/10 the cost of pain pills. When you click on the link below today, you can access the only canalidine product in the world for less than $1 a day. Go to trycano.com/SGT right now and see for yourself. The link is below.
This is what we found in this product. You can actually see the graphene organizations and constructs of biosensors, which are actually contained within this diet, and it's literally impregnating nanotechnology, biosensors that are self-assembling when activated by 4G plus 5G into these biochips that can then interact with your cell phone, cell towers, to receive and transmit information.
Oh my God. You
So
know what? I didn't see this presentation prior to now. I didn't know that you tested Ozempic. I had no idea
I
when I
did.
brought that up to you. I had no
I
clue.
did. I know all about it. I cry thinking.
Unbelievable.
I cry for the people that don't understand that there's millions of these quantum dots in this material, and it is activated and self-assembles within it. And
Ugh.
that's why it's important to understand what Tesla phoresis is. By definition, is the self-assembly activated by magnetic frequencies to self-assemble into these biochips.
This is a God thing that this came up. It really is, because I had this conversation with my wife last night while we were driving in the car, talking about these two women we know who are on this product, who don't know any better. And I said to my wife, you know what's so bizarre? It is a form of mental illness that they will not listen to those who care enough about them to even do any cursory research, because the same thing happened with the mRNA bioweapon. I warned one of these two women is one of the same women I warned about the COVID vaccine bioweapon. I warned her and her husband not to take it. Do some investigation on your own before doing so, before taking it. They didn't listen. They wanted to take it because they wanted to travel to Europe. And it's the same thing here with this Ozempic product. I don't dare tell her that she's poisoning herself, because then I become the enemy. These people are so brainwashed. Anybody that challenges their paradigm then becomes their enemy. They would sooner believe in Big Pharma and Albert Bourla than their neighbor who actually gives a shit about them, Doc.
Yeah, you're making me cry.
Well, I don't mean to make
I
you cry, but I'm so fed up. And I'm so fed up with this, the troll armies. The troll armies saying that everybody who doesn't say Jew, Jew, Jew all day is controlled opposition. Okay, we're sharing the truth about the democide with the people. That's what we do on this show. That's one of the many things we do on this show. And that's one of the many things you do. You've dedicated your entire life to telling the people the truth, Doc. God bless you for it.
Yeah. Well, this is the technology that's in there. This is the purpose of it. And the purpose of it is to connect humans and animals. And we know that animals are being biochipped. Just in case they get lost, they can be picked up by the wireless animal, connections here. But when we're talking about wideband, WBAN, the wireless body area network, this also applies to the wireless not area body network, not just to humans, but to animals. And once that happens, you're connected. Once you take this, you end up with this. And so you're once you turn on your computer, which connects to the cloud, you are now connected to the Internet of Medical Things. You're now connected to the Internet of Things.
By the way, Ozempic is made by Novo Nordisk. So they're all in on it. All the big pharma companies are executing the people or executing their strategy using this technology, unbeknownst to the people. There's no informed consent for those taking Ozempic. They don't know what's in it. They don't care as long as they lose weight. It's
Here it is. It's IEEE 802.156 was standardized for the wireless body area network in 2012. This is one of the delivery. This is one way they transfect people. This to get to what they've been working on since what? Sensors 2020 March. They're talking about this study, and what do they say? The standard exploited only star technology where nodes deployed on and in the human body are coordinated by this connection. IEEE 802.15.6 adopted a hybrid approach combining both contention-based, and it goes on. What I'm telling you, folks, is wake up. You are being slow cooked. And this is just another way, since people are all wrapped up on what they look out on the outside rather than focusing from the inside out. The quality of your body that is being seen by the world outside your body is controlled by your blood. blood is the primary stem cell, the erythroblast, which is being destroyed by this technology. This technology. Graphene is the major two-dimensional graphene oxide, successful interface with neurons in the brain in February 2016. This has been going on for years. And everything here, survey of main challenges, security and privacy, and wireless body networks for healthcare applications. That's the guys. Oh, this is for healthcare. A network of body monitoring devices using our own body tissues as the basis for the Internet of Bodies. This is not future. This is now. You've all been transfected with this technology. And for those who are taking, the injections, I mean, that's just another way to do this. But all animals and humans have been hacked with graphene biochips and connected to the Internet of Humans for contact tracing, for complete control over your body and body field.
Can I ask you something?
And as I scanned through here, you saw some pictures of this body field, and I'll show you again so you see it, because we have the evidence. So our bodies are electrical, and here again, our bodies are at like 7.368 hertz, and what's coming off these cell towers, transmitters, they're transmitting, it's interfering with your body frequency, and this is affecting your biofield. I'm using photon interference photography. Right here is the pineal gland. It's hot. This is not woohoo science. You literally have electrical orifices, magnetic orifices. They're called chakras, and that's not woohoo science. We identified these, we videotaped these, and we took pictures of these. I mean, this is what it looks like when you're using the Russian scientist Seaman Krillin. It's called Krillin photography. This is a fingerprint. This is putting it on a mat, picking up the electrical conductivity, the biofield of your fingerprint. So,
can I jump in and ask you something real quick? In the 10 minutes we have, because this is a PhD level overview of the science. I mean, to me, for those who are waiting for the information about how to remove this crap from our bodies, do you want to talk about the results you're seeing in the scientific data? Do you want to talk about the scientific
absolutely.
data about the results you're seeing with MasterPeace?
Yeah, I want to show you this because this was a STEM transmission electron micrograph that I took, probably 6 to 8 months ago. And you can see its hexagonal construct. It's multidimensional. This is MasterPeace, 9-colloidal hexagonal construct at a pH of what? 8.4 to 80 millivolts minimum. The MasterPeace marine plasma, because this is a colloidal system. It's zeolite. You're seeing it. You're seeing the cage, which has a zeta potential. That's the surface charge. All these edges here have a surface charge. And guess what the charge is? It's negative. So it cannot go into the cell. It works outside the cell. Unless the cell is damaged, then it will go in through electromagnetic attraction. So this is what the product looks like at what? The nano level. Not the micron level or micro level, but the nano level. This is what hexagonal graphene looks like, because it's also graphene. But the difference in this is these surface charges are positive. Now, for those who are listening, it's very simple. You've all played with magnets. What happens when you take the positive side of a magnet and try to push it against the positive side of a separate magnet? Will they come together? And that's true with the negative side. The negative polarity will repel each other. Two magnets with a negative charge coming together will repel each other. Okay, so what happens with graphene, which carries a negative charge? It attracts, the zeolite, with a negative charge, zeta potential, it attracts like a magnet the positive surface charge of the hexagonal graphene. It's a perfect match. It clicks in. It is then stored, depending on its size. It's then collected in a multi-dimensional network, a cage. It traps it. And since it's all indigestible, the body removes it. It's trapped. Once it's trapped, it's been neutralized. It's been demagnetized, so it can't affect anything. It's neutralized and then removed. Here you see that technology. When looking at graphene, guess what? Also with E. coli. So there's bacteria. These are so small. These are in the nano ranges because bacteria is a product of cellular breakdown. It's not a species specific. It's created from within the cell. It gives birth. Germs are born in us and from us, from the cell membranes, from the cell constructs that comes out. So when we looked at this product, I was shocked that something was so small and yet needed some adjustments, of which I made in order to create the only existing nanocolloidal hexagonal zeolite in a marine plasma at the ideal environment at 8.4 at negative 80 millivolts. Perfect for being received orally into the interstitial fluid when you take it under the tongue. And then the results. So when we get to the results, I just updated this to hopefully make it simple for people, is when we looked at 5 of the chemicals, the poisons that are causing a reduction in quality of your health and putting your life at risk. These were polypropylene, polyethylene, PFOS, PFOA. This is perfluorooctane acid or tannic acid, graphene, and these are the averages of them. So we found, and this is just a pilot study of 3 people, 2 of which were vaccinated, 1 of which, but they all contained these compounds which should not be in their body. One that I'm completely concerned about is what is called phosgene. Phosgene was contained in everyone. Phosgene is created by taking vilinidine dichloride, which is a chemical used to clean the rods in nuclear plants. And that waste product is supposed to be stored. It's a bioweapon. It was outlawed in international law in World War I when it was used, killed over 80,000 people. We are now finding when you take vilinidine dichloride and burn it, what does that ring a bell of? When you burn vilinidine dichloride, you create phosgene, and we had a train wreck. We've had many train wrecks of which they've burned off based on our research, our team, finding vilinidine dichloride, and it looks like a plume. You can read the article. You can see what it looks like. It covered pretty much, the eastern part of the United States. It went up into Canada, all the way down south from that Ohio accident that took place of the transport of vilinidine dichloride. But you can see this is the percentage of reduction in all of these, from phosgene to polyethylene glycol. Polyethylene glycol, PE, is found in many of the vaccinations, particularly the COVID ones and the influenza ones. COVID is influenza, but any of the flu vaccines, both past and present, they've been putting this in for years. And removing this, we were able to remove these percentages, 60%. Here we're a little over 20%. On the graphene, above 60% of taking it from the high levels down to levels that are tolerable. These are the 5 substances of aluminum, glyphosate, iron, lindane, phosgene. This is a hormone disruptor that's being delivered. Also, it confuses your sexuality. Phosgene, which I just explained, uh, there was actually uh, no removal of the phosgene. Okay, what we're finding based on 90 days, it'll go up and it'll go down, but I believe this is caused by retransfection. We're constantly being exposed to these burnt off vinylidene dichloride, which is being chemtrailed. And this is why people are picking this up. It's getting into our soil, it's getting into our water, it's getting into our food. Uh, Iron is essential for the production of other elements like graphene, but aluminum, over a 50% reduction. And that was a timeline of 45 to 90 days. So at the beginning of the 45 and tracking for 90 days, which is another 45 days, this is the 45-day result of reducing these toxins out of the body inexpensively by just taking 5 drops of MasterPeace and taking one little scoop. It's like 100 milligrams, taking that in water and drinking that to neutralize the toxins in your stomach, and in your small intestine. So one
Wait,
is
though.
for
One little scoop of
oral.
what? One little scoop of what?
Master Restore.
Got it.
Master Restore. So it's a two-prong protocol. You take the drops that go into the interstitial fluid based on its size. This is nano, and then you take a microgram then of a scoop of 100 micrograms. Well, it's actually milligrams. It's about 100 milligrams of pure zeolite that has been pH adjusted up to an 8.4. So, but it's already up there. So, the pH of this product is now showing out based on using an Octon pH and ORP meter. We're measuring results of a pH of 9 at close to negative 120 millivolts. Now that's the kind of product that will make a difference in collecting and neutralizing and then eliminating these poisons that we now are living around and living with. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I wanted to make that as a point. And it really leads to why we're seeing an increase in turbo cancers. It's because of the very things that we're finding in everyone, from graphene to deuterium, which is now in our drinking water, fluoride, phosgene, aluminum, hydrogel, polyethylene glycol, PFOS, PFOA. This is what is changing the environment, because cancer is not a disease of the cells. It's a disease or a pollution of the interstitial fluid. You clean up the interstitial fluid, you clean up your blood, maintain an alkaline design of those body fluids by supporting your internal environment, and you start building healthy blood while providing better circulation with, over 10,000 studies of L-arginine, L-ornithine, and L-citrulline. You take that daily to help improve circulation while you're taking 4 salts. You take 4 salts to raise the pH while you're taking Master Restore, while you're taking MasterPeace to deal with the nanotechnology and attract, these larger particulates that are in your stomach and in your duodenum and in your small and large intestine. And this number is going to change, but we have to recognize, as humans, we need to recognize that we are being poisoned, that we are being chemically, poisoned, and we are being poisoned by radiation. And this is why we're seeing an increase in cancer. This is why we're seeing an increase of autism. This is why this number is going now down to 1 in 20. And this is reversible. Once you remove the poisons, once you restore the alkaline design of the root system of your body at 8.4, at negative 80 millivolts, this is the key to reversing or preventing and reversing any cancerous condition, any neurological condition, any inflammatory condition, any immune deficiency. because now you understand that immunity is provided by your stomach, and that's why I had to develop a whole system, an organ system. It's called the alkalophile system, which includes things like the pancreatic duct, which secretes sodium bicarbonate to the liver, which secretes bile, which is, guess what bile pH is at?
8.4.
At negative 80 millivolts. I mean, everything leads to what I've been saying now for over 40 years. This is my crime. Improving the quality and quantity of life and giving back with education, not medication, education, not vaccination, knowledge that's in the power of the people to be able to manage and maintain the quality and quantity of their life. Not trusting a second or third party or someone else that have been indoctrinated in all of this. And if you get a chance, these solutions to the pollutions are very simple. You have to open the channels of elimination. You have to improve circulation. You have to build healthy blood cells with green foods and green drinks. You've got to saturate alkalinity with salts, and we're talking about salts, which are compound salts of sodium and potassium bicarbonate. You need to superhydrate with alkaline pH, and yes, you can drink with your meals. Those who tell you you can't, that you're going to neutralize the hydrochloric acid, the answer is very simple. That's a waste product, folks, of sodium bicarbonate production. I want to drink alkaline water with my meals before, during, and after to neutralize that hydrochloric acid, because it's a poison. So everything that you've been told, just about everything you've been told, is just the opposite. For chelating toxic metals and forever chemicals, and even now a huge problem, which I know you know about, are microplastics. And then on top of that, eliminate the parasites, which are like mosquitoes and flies. Mosquitoes attract to the swamp, flies attract to the garbage. Here again, this is, which I found, this is now an included ingredient in a lot of these vaccinations, are the eggs of these parasites. What I found was Mycofilariae parasites as a form of malaria, and also Trypanosoma cruzi parasites. Here again, not native to the United States. I mentioned to improve circulation, the production of nitric oxide. It's a soluble gas that is continually being made from arginine, and endothelial cells make this. But here again, there's a deficiency in it. To keep your vessels open, to keep the circulation moving, you've got to circulate to percolate. This is a solution to the pollutions. Increasing your oils, increasing colloidal type products, and also something that the animals attract to, Sean, is there's 7 different types of clay, but the most effective clay is a cement-type montmorillonite clay called terra firma clay. This clay can adsorb, which attracts, just like the zeta potential or the negative charge of the MasterPeace and Master Restore. The cement-type clays do the same thing, and you just take a 5-gram scoop of that, put it in water, 3 or 4 ounces of distilled or alkaline water, and you drink this. And these are things that anyone can do. They're simple, but they're highly effective because they're dealing with the real problem. Stop treating symptoms. Start removing poisons that are making you sick, tired, and fat.
Yeah. Look, we're about solutions here as much as we're about exposing the problems, right? Because the mainstream horror mockingbird media, the CIA-controlled media, will not cover the real news. All they do is spread fake news, and they call what we do fake news. So we live in an upside-down world, and what we're trying to do here, folks, is help you and your family regain your health so that maybe we can all work together to restore our republic. You got to start by restoring your health, You got to be healthful. And then instead of living on your knees, stand up and help us fight to take our republic back. So I'm going to leave a link below, obviously, to MasterPeace and Master Restore, but I'll also leave a link to your website so people can get 4 salts and whatever else they might need to get to begin this journey back to health. Doc, if I'm missing anything, I'll give you the last word, but I just want you to know how much we respect you and we love you and we appreciate you. And thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you, Sean. So it's a pleasure to actually speak with someone that actually is on top of what is going on. The fact that you picked up on this diet drug, the fact that I was testing it, and that I can definitively say it has been chemically poisoned. And if people are losing weight, it's because they are getting sick and they're destroying their body systems to lose weight. Stop it. The body puts on weight to protect you against the acids or toxins, metabolic waste, environmental waste, chemical waste, all of these wastes that are in your body that cannot be removed get pushed out to the fatty tissues. You get fat because your body is trying to save you from yourself. You have to go back to getting off a diet and start with a live it, which reconsiders what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're breathing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're believing. All of this, when you have control of it and you restore the alkaline design of the body fluids, then you will experience energy, vitality, and you'll start losing weight naturally, because when the body doesn't need to hold on to fat to store poisons, it lets go of your parking lots. It lets go. There's nobody coming to park in this thing. The body starts getting rid of these excess fat, this excess fat that is saving your life. So you look in the mirror, you're not happy with it. Just be grateful for the fact that it is designed perfectly to save you from yourself. And now that you know that you can reverse this, not by dieting, but by living. You don't go on a fast, you go on a feast. You eat less more often rather than more less often. It's not a program of deprivation. It's just a solution to all these pollutions that are making us sick and tired and fat. So read the pH Miracle Revised and Updated. Focus on Chapter 5 and Chapter 11. Read the pH Miracle for weight loss and weight gain. And I've got a chapter in there on bodybuilding. And Matt has taken my advice, and he says, I cannot believe how much stronger, how much buff I've gotten. I mean, it is unbelievable what I'm lifting, what I'm able to lift, the reps he's able to do. The whole program is outlined in pH Miracle for Weight Loss and Weight Gain by Dr. Robert Young, and it will outline what you can do. And guess what? You don't have to be in the gym for an hour to do this. It's between a 5 to 10 minute workout and you are done, folks. You are done. And then when you start doing cardio, yeah, that will take some walking, swimming, jogging, rebounding, infrared sauna. These are ways you can help yourself. But we've been doing this now for 40 years, and we'll continue to do it because it works. It doesn't matter what your condition is. It doesn't matter what it's called. There is only one sickness. There is only one disease, and that's the overacidification of the blood and then interstitial fluids due to a perverted way of living, eating, and thinking. And there's only one treatment: to restore the alkaline design of your body fluids and start building healthy blood, which will restore every single gland, every single organ, every single tissue of your body. And it does it just like as if you are a newborn baby. You're recreating yourself to become a better you. And that's what human consciousness support is all about. That's what pH Miracle products are all about. They're all about giving you the power, you the knowledge, you the power to determine the quality and quantity of the life you want to live.
Amen. Oh, one last thing. For the audience that doesn't realize it, Dr. Robert Young has been persecuted by a criminal government pretty much his whole professional life. They've taken his home, they've taken his properties. He doesn't even have a car at this point. So everything you just heard this man say in this interview comes from his heart because he wants to help humanity. He wants to help you, dear listener. If you feel compelled to help him, he does have a Give, Send, Go for his legal expenses. Doc, can you tell people how to find that?
GiveSendGo.com/research. Any contribution that you make comes with your opportunity if you want to ask me a question. And if you have health challenges, I'm happy to answer that. I do not charge. There's no charge for my services. All I ask is, if you can make a contribution of any amount, I am truly grateful. This is an amount that will make it easier for me to be able to defend myself in a very, very corrupt corrupt system.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you very much. I'll leave the links below, guys. Our guest has been Dr. Robert Young. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Sean.
God bless you. Friends, if you're still with us, thank you so very, very much. We appreciate you so very, very much. And if you're kind enough to do so, if you want to support the channel and the work, please head over to Rumble and give us a like. I guess they call them Rumbles. Evidently, you can't get on the leaderboard regardless of how many views you get on your videos if you don't get a ton of Rumbles. So if you'd like to see SGT Report on the leaderboard at Rumble, we sure do appreciate you for giving us a like over on Rumble. And I'll remind you every single day, guys, for free, check us out for free to get the real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda, and all of those mainstream media CIA mockingbird lies 24/7 at sgtreport.com. Until next time, God bless you and yours. Bye-bye.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people.